Good afternoon to you. Mark Suttoth, HurricaneTrack.com here with a Hurricane Pro and HD video blog update on what's going on in the tropics. We do have TD number 9 down here in the extreme southeast bay of Campeche. Here's the tracking map for it, and really not much going on with it overall. This is from 11 o'clock this morning. The forecast track anyway. The advisory was updated at 1 p.m. Central Time, and the pressure was about 1,002 millibars, and it was moving east at 4. Very disorganized overall, and probably not going to be much more than a rainmaker for this area. So if you have travel plans to the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, Cancun, Cozumel up here, don't cancel them, even over in the Cayman Islands. Don't worry about it. It'll be a little bit of a nuisance, certainly. Not the best of beach days or anything like that, but it is nothing to worry about in terms of significant or very strong impacts. I would show you a satellite picture that we're used to seeing, but as I'm going to show you here on Twitter, notice this information here, this post from the Capital Weather Gang, that the Weather Service right now not receiving satellite data. They're having some issues within their internal Weather Service network, so that the normal National Hurricane Center satellite page, I'm going to show you right here, is showing, even though there's no note, oh, now they just put it up. There was no note a few minutes ago, believe me. Maybe since that article came out from the Capital Weather Gang, they decided to put something up. So there's some problems, and the page is not updating its satellite data. So if I look at the loop here, this is from the 20th. See? Look at that. The 20th. And this is very, very old data, so I just thought I'd point that out. But the NASA servers are still running. I just don't get as decent a satellite shot, unfortunately. But there's the tiny little ball of convection associated with the depression. You have this frontal boundary and a nice little nor'easter curled up here. It's not little either. It's pretty big, impacting millions of people up here. Terrible flight delays in New York and Philadelphia today. Yuck. I flew to Bermuda a week ago today, and it took me about 45 minutes to get out of Philadelphia just due to a frontal passage that ultimately helped to steer Gonzalo away from the United States and then over Bermuda. But I cannot imagine some of the delays I was seeing, 120 minutes and longer. But I digress. Back to the topic at hand. This area going to remain unsettled. Might see the depression come out into this area of the Caribbean and maybe sit around and try to develop into something more. The GFS has been showing that off and on. Right now it's on the off phase, so we'll watch and wait and see. Another big clue, though, that this might not happen. First of all, you do have this frontal boundary, but this is all very indicative of dry air, and this dry air is coming down from the north, spilling into the Gulf of Mexico. So we'll watch it. It's not over till it's over, but I don't see anything in the reliable computer models that suggest that we're going to see a big hurricane or something develop and move up into the Gulf. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility, but we're getting pretty close to it. So that's about it. In the Central Pacific, we still have Tropical Storm Anna, which is now passing well on past the atolls area, those little small volcanic islands, those atolls in the Central Pacific. And zoom in on the track map. Here's the Hawaiian Islands proper, and then you have all these different atolls sitting out here that dot the Pacific, the volcanic region out here where the plates are spreading apart, and you get the volcanic activity peeking up through the crust. And therefore you have all these tiny little islands out here, lots of them. And the storm going to move through there and then transition into a pretty potent extratropical system that may come in here and impact the Pacific Northwest beyond day 5. So if you're in Oregon or Washington, you need to watch this, in my opinion, because it's that time of year. We're having a storm track into your area, and with these tropical cyclone influences, there could be a lot of rain for the Pacific Northwest over the next week to 10 days. Something to watch for sure. All right, well, that is it from me for today. I am Mark Suttoth for HurricaneTrack.com. And, of course, Hurricane Pro and HD. I appreciate you tuning in. I'll be back on Monday, unless there's something to talk about between now and then. Otherwise, I'll talk to you again on Monday.